they issue a stay-at-home order. And so you can't go to work anymore. And if you can't go to work, then you can't make money. A lot of people actually just end up getting fired. They lose their jobs. So you're stuck at home. And those same people expect you to be able to do that and be fine and comfortable with it, while at the same time not providing you with support, like a rent freeze or debt cancellation, especially with student debt. That's a big problem for me personally, is my rent on top of that. So you start dwindling down your savings, if you even have any, which most of us don't, or you start dipping into credit. And if you can't do that because your credit was already not good enough, then you lose your home, your family, and you can't afford food. I mean, you can't go to the doctor anyway because your insurance was with your employer. So we beg and we ask for some sort of support for $1,200 checks, for $2,000 a month, and that kind of thing, which would be great, but it doesn't come from these people who continue insisting that we stay home. And then we get protests from people who are really hurting and who need money and who need to work to survive. And sure, there are elements of certain protests or whatever where someone wants to get a haircut or something, but I feel like a majority of people they don't want things to go back to normal necessarily. They just want to be able to survive, which they can't right now. So states start reopening because there's a lot of backlash and a lot of people need to get back to work, and states need money and they need people to be working, and so they reopen, and people who shouldn't be going back to work are going back to work. People who might be immunocompromised, people who are in danger, their employer notifies them and says, hey, actually, we're opening back up. We need you to be back to work on Monday, which is not only dangerous for them, but it could help spread the disease immediately with these reopenings. And the thing that I am really nervous about, that is really frustrating to me, seeing these states and everybody reopening way, 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 way before they should be, is that all of the begging and all of the asking and pleading for assistance, for getting rent freezes, for debt cancellation, for these checks, this money to come every month. What do you think their excuse is going to be now for the people who insist on staying home and refuse to go back to work because they don't want to be a part of the problem, they don't want to be a part of the spread, and maybe they don't want to get sick, they don't want to get their family sick, they don't want somebody or themselves to die, or they don't want to spread it. If they are refusing to go back to work, but they could because the state has reopened, then the government just gets to look at them and say, hey, you could be working right now. Why aren't you? We're open. And so that support's never going to come. They didn't have a good reason not to help us before, and now they are making it final that they don't have to help us at all. So I hope people are being safe. I'm sorry to the states who are reopening for those people who are concerned about that. I really feel for you, especially my home state, Minnesota. That sucks. I hope you're all okay. I hope you're getting support where you can from your communities and everything. It's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough. We're going to have to rely on each other, and that's especially difficult because there was not a foundation in place before this happened. So, just some thoughts.